It's really special for me to be talking about both Sarala and Ruchoma Liba from these grounds, from Camp Simcha, because it's here that I saw them change lives. It's from here that I got to meet these both tzidkanios, both amazing, incredible neshamos who not only changed my life and better my life daily, but I watched tens, probably hundreds of other people's lives change because of them.
The journey started back close to 12 years ago. We were living in Sarala at that moment. She was 2 years old, very cute 2-year-old girl, very spunky, very happy. And my wife came into her room and she was non-coherent.
Our life was running amazingly well. I was learning in yeshiva, my wife was a teacher, and Kanai Nahara 5 happy children. And then all of a sudden, about 10.5 years ago, right after Yom Kippur, was the first time we were thrown into an upside down world.
And they rushed us very bravely, Eretz Yisrael style, to Ichalev Hospital. She was in such a matzah sakana. Miraculously, she made it out of that surgery. Yad Hashem, in every step, in every way. And there we started a long journey.
The shock and the overwhelmingness of a diagnosis could really just flip you upside down in moments. Rather quickly from when the MRI began, they came in to the room to tell us that they see a large mass developing in her brain.
Both of these girls' families created around them this happiness, this genuine simcha, and you felt it when you were with either of the girls, and when they were together, it was like this spark of energy that just went off, of true simcha, whether it was through fun or sometimes through pain.
They had a fan club of people who were just amazed at them for being such upbeat, happy people, even though this is what Hashem dealt them.
At the end of a long day of her struggling with a tremendous deficiency of not being able to see, my heart was breaking for her. And I said to her, Sarala, you have to tell me what it is that you're telling yourself to keep yourself going, to be mechazik yourself. She tells me, I know that Hashem is with me, and I know that Hashem helps, and I know that Hashem has a plan.
It was a simple emunah pshuta that she had, and she carried that with her throughout, and really shared that with others also.
She was just able to focus on this is what Hashem wants me at this moment, and this is what I have to do, and she did it. She came to ask, this is where Hashem wants me to be, then this is what I'm gonna do.
She had such a strong connection with Hashem that it just enabled her to continue pushing forward and just kept her going.
And no matter what was going on, there could be like a day camp happening behind her, and Sarala was focused, Sarala was zooming in and concentrating on her davening with all the patients in the world, and it inspired me and I think so many others.
She knew who she was davening to, she knew who she was connecting to, and that's what you saw in her chen and in her eyes, is this connection to Hashem.
When she lost her eyesight, from the first things that she thought of was, how am I going to be able to see my siddur? How am I going to be able to daven? That showed us her real love for tefillah, how much it meant to her to be able to talk to the Ribono Shel Olam.
She used to talk to Hashem. She used to say, Hashem, I'm in so much pain. I know you love me. Could you please make me feel better? Like Hashem was right in front of her, like a child would express it to her father.
I once came to visit Ruchoma Liba in the hospital, and when I walked in through the door, she was in the middle of davening Shemon Esrei. I waited for her to look up at me 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Finally, she was finished davening. And she looked up at me and she was excited to see me. But when I got in that room, I don't believe that she realized that I even came in.
The girls from Lifeline, her counselors, who were in touch with her and close with her, put together pictures of all different settings of her davening, in the hospital, in camp, in her classroom. The common denominator of all the pictures, a girl focused on her said that you felt that when she was davening, there was a person here talking to Hashem.
There was a time that she was in CHOP and she was going through an especially difficult and painful time where she was in constant pain. Her counselors gave her sitter to daven, and when Ruchoma Liba davened, she was completely transported, and it was distracting her for those minutes from her pain. When she was nearing the end of her davening, her counselors looked at each other and they realized that she's going to start feeling her pain again full force. They told Ruchoma Liba, Chams, it's Rosh Chodesh today, and she was distracted for an additional half hour that she spent davening Halal Musaf.
It's the last hospitalization when she was mamish shvach, but she pushed herself like she would get up and she would say Matoivu and Maida'ani, and she would get through maybe a few brachas and she would close this and she would say, I can't. So my wife would tell her, so just say, please Hashem make me have a good day. And she would say like this is her tefillah. She would say, please Hashem make me have a good day.
So we had planned a whole trip. They got their makeup done, they put on their wigs, they were all excited, they got their jewelry. We got a limousine to come pick them up. They were really excited about it. We went downstairs when they were davening, waiting for the limousine. The limousine pulled up. You couldn't tell that there was something exciting about to happen. Their davening was their davening, and they sat and they took the time to connect with Hashem, and they took the time to daven. And it didn't really matter what else was about to happen.
These two partners in crime, there were two neshamas that were literally connected, opposite ends of the world in their personality, but the love that they had, the deep love that they had one for another, would pain them when they would know that the other one's in the hospital.
I was coming by because you weren't feeling well. I'm just calling to take care of your feeling, thinking about you. Bye.
Ruchoma Liba would go to activities because Sarala was there. She wasn't always up to it, she wasn't always in the mood, but if she knew Sarala Gross was being there, she would go. One night we got the pool open just for them, and they had the best time ever. They just swam for a little bit together, and they just laughed and laughed. That was a really special memory.
There was one night when they landed up both in the same room. They were roommates for one night, and they were so happy about it. They had such a great time joking around with each other. This was her best friend being her roommate for a night. It was something that she so appreciated and loved. She was so excited by it.
Ruchoma Liba was persistent, and when she had a goal, nothing stood in her way.
She never ran really in her life. She's in a wheelchair most of her life. She got up. We first started walking a little bit from the bunkhouse to the dining room, and slowly but surely, she started running. And I remember that day so clearly when she came off the bus. She had this huge smile on her face, and she ran into her parents' arms, and all the counselors and all the staff in Camp Simcha helped her get to that place where she was excited to do it, and she had the energy to do it, and she was pumped, and she was backed by people who loved her, and she felt that. One
of the things that I really learned from Ruchoma Liba is no matter what, keep pushing forward.
She had an Untitled Lifeline. She lived to Camp Simcha. Camp Simcha kept her going. Only Hashem can make me better. He said, but Lifeline and Camp Simcha just make it so much easier for me to handle.
Sarala Gross was just cuteness. She was just this yummy, delicious ball of sweetness.
She spoke a tremendous amount through her eyes, and she had a sparkle. You looked at her and you smiled. She has so much pain. It was literally contagious. Whoever saw Sarala smiling would just start smiling. When Sarala was in her bunkhouse, she was getting ready to go to an activity, and I turned to her, I said, Sarala, you look all ready. Are you on your way? And she said, yeah, I'm just waiting for someone. And it didn't matter
where she was going, what she was doing. It could be the most fun thing. But if she told this friend she's going to wait for them, or if she knew that it was going to make that friend feel good, she was waiting. And it was in such a tsanua way.
When there were girls from Lifeline, volunteers, that came by and gave Sarala a good time, I remember discussing with my wife how they're doing something which we can't possibly do for her. We were spent from just the day-to-day care that she needed. And we didn't have that capacity to just do something fun with her, play a game with her, make her laugh. The joy that was brought to her life as a direct result of Lifeline is indescribable.
The fruchthandlers and the grosses, I just think of everybody just smiling. Like, why would my experience with two girls who were so sick their whole life, even in the hardest time, standing by those girls' hospital beds, the parents were just such positive influences. And I think that's why Ruchoma, Liba, and Sarala were also so positive and such happy girls.
No matter what was going on, Sarala could have been in treatment, just post-treatment, post-surgery. And anytime I would walk into Sarala's house, there was music on, there were smiles, her family was around. They were embracing everything that Hashem was giving them with open arms.
Hashem was such a part of that family, and Hashem was such a part of that house, and it spilled over. And they didn't just give it to Chams, because Chams gave it over to everybody else. So what came out of that house and what went over to Chams and then went over to all the volunteers is this huge piece of emunah, of accepting of Hashem runs the world, and it's huge.
So many visits to Sarala's bedside from Mrs. Gorelik or Rabbi Fried or Rabbi Brodsky. It's unimaginable and it's undescribable, the joy that brought her. It is heart-wrenching to even imagine what her life would have looked like. And now we're left with beautiful memories.
Meir and Chaim Moishe sind gesund. They've become friends of mine and tremendous role models. How they can go through a serious crisis in the family, and they're learning and they're davening and they're Shemayim. Not only does it not skip a beat, it goes up into the next level. And it's also a testament to Lifeline that such wonderful young light and special people could continue their Avodas HaKodesh because of the supporting cast they have from Lifeline.
What Rabbi and Mrs. Fruchthandler, Rabbi and Mrs. Gross went through and how they went through it. They were true inspirations to myself and to everyone around them. And the Kiddush Hashem that they spread in the hospital, both from them, from the parents, and the children themselves, from doctors, from nurses, from anyone who met them, are still talking about them.
I felt privileged to be on such a journey with such a tired, heilige neshama that brought out Kvod Shemayim. She was a neshama tahira. It's a gift, matana, given to us from Hashem.
Nothing is normal about a child with cancer. As stable and as normal as it possibly could be is something which Lifeline did for us. We will forever be grateful to them.